obviously. I graduated as PharmD from the University of Jordan in 2018. I'm working in regulatory affairs, regulatory affairs executive for one of the lead distributors in GCC. I handle medical devices, pharmaceuticals, and that's enough about me. Let's talk about Dr. Bayan, our guest for the evening. So Dr. Bayan is a healthcare and life sciences global strategist. She works globally in the life sciences, biopharma, medical products, and health technology spaces. She drives the transformation of healthcare systems within supported markets. Her focus is on new business models, including outcomes-based and value-based healthcare approaches. Also, Dr. Bayan provides consulting services on all aspects of regulatory affairs. So she covers the entire product cycle from clinical through marketing application, all through post-approval. Dr. Arar earned her bachelor's degree in pharmacy from the Applied Science Private University. She's a co-author of a brand new book in her field, Fundamentals of Pharmaceutical and Biologics Regulations, a Global Perspective. This was actually a great collaboration between her and RAPS, Regulatory Affairs Professional Society. And this is something to really be proud of Dr. Bayan, which is she was the youngest global author.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
She serves in many leadership positions across national and international societies and organizations. She started with the JPA, Jordan Pharmacist Association, and she is actually the youngest pharmacist in drafting the first Continuous Professional Development Guideline, the CPD, for Jordanian pharmacists. At the moment, she's a member of the CPD committee, along with the Employment, Training, and Professional Development Committee at JPA. She was also elected to be Regulatory Affairs Listserv Coordinator, IVPN Network, in addition to her membership in the International Society for Pharmacoeconomics and Outcomes Research. So, wow. Something I would say personally, she's a great patient advocate. She is fluent speaker at many regional and global events, and she advocates mostly, like I said, for patients and the healthcare topics. She loves to discuss life sciences and leadership topics as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bayan, for being here today. And I'm so excited myself to hear about this topic because I'm a great fan of AI and, the ChatGPT and all that's going on in that field. So please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hadil, for the kind introduction. It's my pleasure to present in our list serve and share my experience with everyone. Everyone knows that, let's say that AI is a trending topic in the industry nowadays, and we are so proud that we're one of the first networks, professional networks, to talk about the healthcare and how AI is reshaping the MedTech and Biotech industry. So it's a really exciting field or domain, especially that's still evolving. So we're so excited to really start talking about this new, let's say, approach in revolutionizing our healthcare system. And we're looking forward to see how much things are going to be reshaped and well developed in the future, serving our patients for sure, because all of these advancements, what's great about it, that's all patient centric. So it's focused on the patient, and this is what you will see in our presentation for today. So our presentation will be about revolutionizing healthcare. We are going to talk about the synergy of AI and in biotech and medtech as two major fields of our industry. Of course, there's a major advancements in these two, let's say, domains. But when we talk about AI, everything becomes different because it's like a different field and a different sector to talk about and to really discuss. And it's something really exciting, especially in the practice. So we're going to start without further delay. And I hope really to enjoy it. If you have any questions, please leave them to the end or write them directly in the chat box so we can take all the questions at the end of our presentation. Okay. Today we're going to talk about different topics to cover the full let's say perspectives of this exciting topic, and to cover all the points that it's crucial to consider when talking or discussing AI, especially in our field. So we will start with what's artificial intelligence and the how we can really let's say define artificial intelligence. We all know the word artificial intelligence, um, which is the most common word that we're using nowadays. But when we come to the origin of the artificial intelligence, what do we actually mean of artificial intelligence? Well, these are like language models. They are called large language models, which artificial intelligence is like type of these large language models. So the artificial intelligence, like it's like an algorithm that uses deep learning techniques and massively large data sets to understand, summarize, generate, and predict new content. So how we can use AI is to predict a new content based on available data sets that we have collected from like evidence or any data that we have collected before. The term generative AI is closely connected to the large language models because they are a type of generative AI that has specifically architected to help generate text-based content. And we know that the most famous text-based context is ChatGPT. Everyone knows ChatGPT, and everyone had already maybe used it so far. So we can, it's really impressive that we can use such, let's say, models to achieve our daily, let's say, tasks in a faster way, especially with repetitive tasks. Okay, can you see my screen effectively? Okay. Well, here I would like to highlight that the COVID-19 pandemic had impacted the digital transformation of healthcare systems across the globe. So with COVID-19, everything was accelerated, and we had started to see the evolving role of artificial intelligence, especially with moving everything from studies, and everything was in the labs. We start using artificial intelligence to accelerate the drug development process, and also to get those important products to the market. Because at the COVID-19 pandemic, we have like unexpected demand, where we have like the COVID-19, we needed vaccines to save lives, and we needed to really have something that cover the unpredicted demand, especially with all closings that we have seen during this time. So we have in regulatory, we had so that there was a huge regulations and many discussions to know how can we really reshape this let's say new era, and how we can deal with those vaccines, and how can we really get them faster to our markets, meanwhile considering patient safety and all the related issues related to the vaccines that we're going to discuss in a moment. And we have, on a regulatory level, we have witnessed the use of the emergency use authorizations. Those guidelines were specifically developed to allow the companies to market their vaccines and bring them to be used by all the humans. Well, we would like to highlight an important topic when talking about the artificial intelligence and the technological advancement in general, which is we need to consider the return of investment, because when we are talking about any like a new domain, or when we are considering technology to accelerate innovations, we need to think about key stakeholders who invest and put their investments to bring those technologies and to develop those technologies. There's many things to consider, but with the proper policies, we can overcome every challenge that we might face, and also we can really come over any challenges that we might face, patient safety, or the obstacles during our market access journey. Finally, to get the best or the highest health outcomes, and to return to get the return of investment to everyone who had investment in the health in this industry or in the healthcare sector in general. So now we will start discussing how we can elevate health horizons, considering the AI triad in healthcare, biopharma, and medtech conversions. We will start by defining the life sciences industry in general in a very simple way. Life science industry comprises companies operating in many sectors, leading to have a products that or technologies that improves the lives of organisms. So it has the AI or the technological advancement in general had shifted the way we are using those industry, and the way we're seeing those industry, and we will clarify and give more examples about how we can see these industries in a new shape and a new let's say advancements across many sectors. Now we're going to see how those large language models act or behave across the life cycle of medicine. As we know, at every life cycle, we have like an input where we apply our resources to meet the unmet medical needs across the three main phases of the life cycle of medicine. So we have the R&D phase, we have the launch phase after this, and we have the post-exclusivity first. Here, I would like to highlight that when it comes to post-exclusivity, we have seen great advancement, not only in the technology, but we have seen huge advancements in the laws that's considered for this phase exclusively, especially with the intellectual property rights. Because at this stage, we don't have only to like save the rights of the companies who, or to save the rights of the company who invented the molecule only, but we need to consider protecting the technology itself. So we have started seeing a new laws and the new regulations that are specialized to protect the rights of the technology itself. Our life cycle, our medicine's life cycle have an input. We can use artificial intelligence to make sure that our life cycle of medicine is going or let's say processing well, which is let's say which we can see it as a results or as an outputs where we can have returns to the stakeholders, and we can have like the improved outcomes in health that as we discussed. Now we will go through the life cycle of medicine to see how artificial intelligence can make a huge advancement and in each and every step across the life cycle of medicine. We will start with the research and development phase. And the research and development, it's crucial to use AI. Why? Because we need to, or we are adopting like a test and learn strategy when innovating with artificial intelligence or machine learning. How we can use artificial intelligence or machine learning and find potential medicines. So we're going to train the models to scan any field in new molecular entities. So if we don't have any succeeded like new molecular entities, I'm not going to proceed with those new molecular entities, and we are going to proceed with those who had succeed, which will save money and time and effort for sure. Then we are going to explore the untapped potential for use in a new therapeutic targets. And we have all heard about, for example, the off-label use of some molecules that haven't been even, let's say, approved. So we can use artificial intelligence at this stage in finding such like therapeutic targets or something like this, or something that can save effort and time, and something that we can really benefit from. At the end, we can identify new application for the most challenges that we are facing when treating in the treatment journey for any patient. Especially when the pandemic had begun, we had seen that there's a huge need for on everything, not only on new medications, but on everything. And this is what we are trying to achieve or to overcome, is to make sure that everything is going in the right track. For example, the FDA had recently called for input from the life sciences industry on the use of AI in drug development, including the development of medical devices intended to be used with drugs. It's the combination products to help inform the regulatory landscape in this area. So regulators need to understand how these models work, so they can make the proper regulations, as we will see in the upcoming slides. Okay. Okay. We have like the next stage on the research and development phase, which is the preclinical research. In the preclinical research, we can use artificial intelligence with any changes in the protocol design for a specific patient cohort. For example, we don't have to conduct the clinical trial. We can only get some help from those models to see how we can conduct this protocol and how we can use the data that we have to really come with the excellent protocol that will save us time and efforts while we are conducting this clinical trial. We are going to always adopt a test and learn methodology, even if we would like to amend any protocols for future trials. We're not going to start all over again. We're going to build on the data that we originally have. In the clinical research as well, we can predict the sample size that we need. We can predict the study design. We can monitor the whole clinical trial by using artificial intelligence. Finally, we have the FDA reviews, and it's important to consider artificial intelligence with the regulatory submissions. And this is what we have saw in the pandemic, when we start using ECTD models completely. So the regulatory framework surrounding the growth of generative AI and predictive analysis is subject to development, but we can use artificial intelligence or these technologies to bring key innovations to the life sciences and medtech industry. In the regulatory submission phase, we have some challenges or difficulties during the FDA reviews, like the traceability, the explainability, data privacy, which is something really important to consider when we're collecting the patients' data and patients' information, and how these data is moving from different stakeholders or different health authorities. And we really need to consider data use in the training models and who can really use these data. Okay, well, to unlock regulatory efficiencies, I've considered this like a graph that showing us the importance of ethics in everything as we are doing, especially when we are dealing with those technologies, because we need to ensure that all stakeholders across the healthcare system collaborate with regulatory bodies to balance risk without stifling innovation. So we need to have complete transparency. We need to have commitment to make sure that every step is preceded perfectly across the life cycle. We need to develop effective regulatory affairs strategies to optimize cost, time, and risk. We need to discover current and future trends in end-to-end regulatory compliance. We need to integrate regulatory operation services with regulatory information systems, and we need to consider ethics and values. And it's important here to highlight that it's important to keep trust between all the stakeholders, especially between healthcare professionals or the healthcare authorities and the public or the patients, because we would like to benefit the patients without breaking this trust between us. Okay, now we will move to the launch phase and how AI can help us unlock informations that will enrich the launching phase. We all know that we use many informations and many safety operations to write, for example, the patient information leaflet for a medicine. But with the use of artificial intelligence, especially generative AI, we will see a new advancement in including informations in the patient information leaflet for any medicine, and especially for new medicines that haven't been existed before. So the post authorization phase is will support the pharmacovigilance activities in particular to let's say consider or to make an eye on all adverse events, all risk management plans, or we will have effective signal detection. We will identify trends in data, and we will have ultimate functionality that can supplement gaps in real-world data analysis capabilities while bridging clinical trials with real-world evidence. Because as we all know, there's no ideal situation for any patient or any trial. We always have gaps, and we need to know how to deal with those gaps to get true results. And this is the main idea or the main purpose of doing the research and conducting those clinical trials. But having large data sets and having a real world evidence will help us overcome every challenge and all the gaps that we might face during this process. Now we will talk about real-world evidence and real-world data. In this slide, I've shared some of the ways that we used to collect data with. So we used to have like hospitals. We had like the electronic medical and health records. We have the claims data. We have hospital data in the past. We have pharmacy data. We had like pharma data. But with the emergence of AI, we start saying new ways to collect data, and we start saying like wearables. We start saying the use of social media in collecting data, and to use those data to get an accurate real world evidence. And now I will explain more about those terms so you can really understand more about them. Well, the real world evidence in real world data, in a very simple words, it's a patient level data that's collected, as we said, from electronic medical records, from claims, from consumer data, or from the usual ordinary observational studies. We then can have the insights which are used or generated from the real world data using appropriate scientific or generated commercial analytics. At the end, we have the real world evidence, which is a produced evidence for multiple stakeholders. So the evidence is generated for a purpose. So I have like a specific question, and real world evidence will answer my specific question, so I can decide what would be my what would I do for a new strategy or new decision making across the regulatory strategies while registering or bringing any product to any desired market. In this slide, we have a comparison between real-world evidence, which is an alternative to the traditional approach for approving medical products. This is the upper line is the traditional approach, where we had a medical product. We move this product across the clinical trial, different phases. Then we got the approval after considering the FDA review. But in real world evidence approach, we have a different case scenario because we're using real world data that we have discussed on a single arm. We have the analysis of these data. We have the real world evidence answering the question that we have been talking about. And then we include this data in the approval. On the parallel, we will have like a traditional approach, but with a small clinical trial. So we don't need to find many patients, especially if we have a large sample size. We can really use real world data and real world evidence to get analysis done in a fast way and efficient way to get the final approval from the FDA. So how real-world evidence and real-world data support market access? Well, all C-level leaders in healthcare and life sciences enterprises, they review those evidences because they are strategically important. Real-world evidence enables R&D organizations to prioritize their pipeline investments effectively, like we said before, to bring or to gain the return of investment that we were talking about, to understand the underlying causes of disease and the treatment pathways, also to identify opportunities for indication expansion, like we have said about the off-label use and business development. Also, we can demonstrate the clinical and economic impact of intervention within the healthcare system, along with the life science industry. So we're going to consider all the stakeholders. Here it's important to highlight that we can really make important decisions when we're performing or testing a drug, especially for rare diseases, because we have like difficulties in clinical trials, but AI and machine learning technologies can really help us to overcome this challenge and really get efficient medications for those rare diseases. Here we will discuss safety and efficacy for the on-label versus the off-label use. As we see here, we have the medical products, even if it was medication like pills and injections, or medical devices like the implanted rods, the hearing aid, the implanted mesh. We have the traditional on-label. We have expert panel review for product safety performance. So those experts evaluate the product after using it, which is the traditional way that we have been seeing and we have been using over the past years. Yet the off-label use um, based on like limited studies on such devices, and we can take a decision or we can expect the performance without even performing clinical trials or test those products on target populations. Here as a brief about the real world evidence and how we can use it to really help patients creating new opportunities for them. But there's one thing that we need to consider here, which is the risk. We can have a great advancement in decision making, but on the other hand, we have risk to consider. So we don't have a complete 100% benefits. We have benefits and risks. And here I would like to highlight that it's really important to consider privacy, because we're collecting data almost from everywhere. Where is the patient going? We need to protect these data so we can have trusted data sharing relationship between different stakeholders. And we have seen let's say a global regulatory standards for ethics, especially when using these technologies. Here I would like to highlight how we can optimize the use of real world evidence, especially in supporting regulatory decision regarding safety and or effectiveness through the engagement with the key stakeholders. We can use, for example, these real world evidence in investigational new drugs. As we can see, we can use them on protocols for single-arm clinical trials. And we can use the real-world data that we had discussed as the control arm. We have can benefit from this with the post-marketing clinical or evaluation studies. And we can generate summary reports for medical device reporting, which is a very important aspect while optimizing the use of real-world evidence. And everyone working in the medical or MedTech field know how it's difficult to generate these summary reports. Okay, we would like to discuss something about risks, mitigating risk and eliminating risk, because these technology or generative AI tools have something related to risk, as we had said, especially when sharing those informations with everyone. Especially as we know, those machine learning machines or technologies have unpredicted, let's say, ways of working. So no one can really predict how the system is going to use and who will be really responsible about these technologies. So we're going to keep in mind that mitigating risk does not equate to eliminating risk. We have, in every case, we need to like make a balance between the risks and the benefits. Even if you use a new medication, when we have a serious case, when a doctor needs to, for example, use a medication, he asks the patients, or he inform the patient that this medication, for example, have risk and have benefits. Would you accept to take the risks associated with those with using this medication or not? Some maybe cancer patients, which we mainly see it in cancer patients. Some cancer patients approve to use or to have those medications while taking the risks. Others, they don't accept and they can't. They say, no, we don't want to risk, and we're happy with we would live with our disease. So we need to consider these technologies, and every like decision maker need to decide, is it worth to take this risk, or the benefits, is the benefits much more than the risk that we are taking? If benefits is more, then we're going to take that risk. But we need to be proactive and need how to know how to deal with these risks in order to minimize them as much as we can. So although we have risks, we can minimize those risks, and we can really get the results, or near results to what we really aim. So the best practices, those best practices help us to mitigate the risks associated with generative AI. Okay, and it's really important here to highlight that it's important to validate the results we're having when using generative AI. So each time we're using those models, we need to check the input, and we need to check the outcome and how those outcomes are really accurate, specific, are they reliable or not. At the end, we're going to discuss future trends and continuous professional development when using the artificial intelligence or technology in general. Well, we're going to discuss the technological metaphoresis, or disadvancements in using those new technology. We need to highlight first that everyone can nowadays can use those technologies. We don't really need to be experts in technology to learn. Now anyone can enter, for example, to the YouTube and learn about any digital tool, or and about how to use any data he would like to use. So we need to consider applying best data management practices in order to know how we can overcome such challenges. So it's important to close the skills gap through a deliberate upskilling effort. So we need to learn because the digital skills are one of the most important skills that everyone need to have nowadays. We used to say that we have like a traditional skill sets, which is leadership, negotiation, communication, but now everyone is going to ask about the digital skills. If you don't have digital skills, then you might not have the opportunity that you're willing to have. So you need to build or upskill yourself with those important skills in order to have or to solve any challenges that might face you or challenge you while you're developing a drug or using any generative data sets through the life cycle of medicine. So you need to help yourself. Also, generative AI help us predict future customer demands. And we need to have unique blend of innovation, regulatory compliance, and education to get the maximum benefits of these tools while managing the potential risks. And while using artificial intelligence, we will not have any human bias in healthcare. We are not going to take safety concerns that might arise while using the AI-enabled decision support. Here, it's important to highlight the role of regulatory intelligence and business intelligence. So we need to develop guidelines and decisions that help us to streamline regulatory submissions processes while taking the intellectual property rights in consideration, and having or lack the qualifications of those digital skills will limit our proficiencies while using such technologies. So we need to be, as we said, upskilled with this or these digital tools to master using them and getting the best outcomes. At the end of our presentation, we would like to highlight that healthcare isn't just a provision. Using real-world data and the insights and real-world data evidence will help us revolutionize healthcare, as we mentioned before. It will help us getting the precision medicines that we have all heard about. Those precision medicines will help every patient with unmet needs to overcome the challenges. So in the future, we're going to see medication customized for every patient and meet his needs while avoiding the risks that he might face or even get over through his treatment journey. So healthcare must or should be a universal privilege, a mutual dream, and a reflection of our inventive spirit. And with that, I end my presentation and thank you all for listening. If anyone has any question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bayan. That was a great ending statement, to be honest. And it was a very interesting and insightful webinar. I especially like when you mentioned about the risk-benefit balance, because a lot of people think that if it's technology, if it is innovative, or if it looks innovative, then it must be good. We shouldn't be focused only on the benefit. We should also weigh the risk. And we don't want to end in one of those Terminator movies, or iRobot, robots and AI taking over the world. So we need to weigh things and make sure that whatever decision we make, if we do take the decision to use this risk, we should find a way to have actually a calculated risk. I believe we have our first question. Mr. Sameh, you can unmute and just go ahead.
Yes, or you can tap or type your question in the chat box.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you so much for this webinar. Sorry, I didn't attend all the webinar. Can you share this lecture with us if you don't mind?
Yes, it will be shared, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Anyone have any comments or other questions on what we have discussed? how you find, is it going to be, is it applicable in the near future, or we still need to see more advancements in the fields to really get over all those challenges that we have discussed in order to get the best approach and to get with the best regulatory strategies across the life cycle of medicine? What do you think? What do you think, Hadid?
I think we have a lot to learn, and we have a lot of challenges and obstacles coming up, especially with the new regulation. I mean, for example, with the MDR and the software as a medical device, they started regulating and giving extra care to cybersecurity, because really cybersecurity is a hot topic when it comes to AI. And data protection is very important as well. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting topic.
Yes.
I would love to hear from anyone if they've had experiences with AI in biotech or medtech, if they have any insights on the matter.
Yes, we have comment from Hisham that we need to investigate the ethical aspects deeply first. Yes, of course. We have seen many institutions who have been working on developing a specific guidelines considering ethics while dealing with all those technologies, because it's important to know who generate or who collects the data across the life cycle, who use this data, and how this data is transforming between different stakeholders, between the product owners or the technology or solution owners, and the healthcare or the health authorities, for example, and how we can really benefit from these data across the clinical trials. So there's many aspects to consider. And every day we have new trends and new issues to discuss, because as we said, it's the new evolving technologies. These evolving technologies are unpredicted, as we discussed. So every day we have something new, and we have all to set and think how we can consider to come over any challenges from the perspective of every and each stakeholder that's involved across the cycle, and even more important, those stakeholders and investors who had invested in this or in these technologies, because they are responsible on let's say التبعيات راح نبالي الكلمة I forget the word. Well, this there will be like effects or consequences. That's it. We have like consequences for each and every technology that we are using. So we need to consider who's responsible on this technology, who's responsible about the consequences, and who's going to handle and be responsible in front of the regulatory authority when there's a law case or anything in the court, who is going to be or to hold the responsibility, even when we are taking a decision based on the AI technologies. If there is something wrong happened, who will take the responsibility of if any patient gets harmed, for example? Who would take this responsibility? Because as we said, one of the challenges that face the regulatory authorities, the explainability of those algorithms and those learning models. They process the data that we provide, that we support, but really we don't actually know how this data is going to be processed, and what are the results that we're going to have. That's why we need to validate the outcome in each and every step we make, to make sure that all the steps are really going with the most or in the best way that we're willing to see even in the future. So we can say that we have a reliable technology to count on when we have like another pandemic or another unexpected or unpredicted situations with a very a very high demand or a very high needs to any medications or to any solution or service across the healthcare sector. Anyone have any other question? Did you enjoy our topic? We would like to hear feedback. You can write in the chat box for sure.
Even if you would like to hear more of, deep dives on the topic, anything you would be interested to hear, anything you've experienced while working in regulatory affairs, business, or anything related to MedTech or Biotech?
Yes.
So we have a comment. So Hisham posted on LinkedIn a brief summary about the integration of technologies such as AI in the field of research in an ethical point of view. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So is your name on LinkedIn Hisham Hassan exactly as spelled? So that we can follow you. Yeah, he's posted the link.
Okay, good.
Hisham Isam, yeah. So not Hisham Hassan on LinkedIn.
Okay, he changed the name. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Anyone have any other question before we conclude our session? Any question, any comments? Okay. Hadil, would you like to say anything?
That's a wrap.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bayan. I really enjoyed today, and I was actually really excited since morning to know more about the subject. I mean, I didn't know that there's that much steps in clinical because I'm not much involved in clinical.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can confidently say I've come out of something really beneficial from this webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you all for attending. We hope to see you in future IVPN webinars. And again, if you have any ideas surrounding the AI topic, please do not hesitate to contact Dr. Bayan and myself if you'd like. And yeah, please, Dr. Bayan, you were saying something?
I would like to send my email in the network. So, or if anyone would like to reach us on LinkedIn, if you have any question, please send us, and so we can share any insights or relevant materials to the topics, inshallah.
I'm writing down my LinkedIn as well. Please feel free to contact me if anything.
Yes.
Okay. So good night, everyone. I'm not sure if it's good morning for anyone here, but good morning if that's the case. And thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.